Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at lesson number 5, applications of quadratics. Again, please copy these down in your notebook the best that you can. All right, here we go. So, a ball is thrown from the roof of a building. Its height changes over time and is given by the equation. Okay, you can see the equation there, where t is the time in seconds after it was thrown, and h is the height in feet. Give the height reached by the ball after 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds. All right, well, first of all, let's get a visual of this. All right, so let's imagine a person is standing on a building and they're throwing the ball up into the air, and then it's going to come down again. All right, you'll notice that that forms a beautiful parabola. It goes up and it comes down, and eventually it's going to hit the ground. All right, well, I'm going to get rid of that because I'm going to need the room, but now you have that visual. So the first 4 are pretty straightforward. We're simply going to plug the number into the equation. So this first one, we have negative 16 times 1 squared plus 92 times 1 plus 80. All right, now I'm going to use the graphing calculator to find this answer, but I'm also going to show you how you can use your phone calculator if you'd rather use that for this. Okay, you don't need a fancy calculator to do these problems. Any scientific calculator will work. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to the calculator and we're going to type this in. So we have our negative 16 times 1 squared plus the 92 times 1 plus the 80. So 1 second after you threw it up into the air, it is at 156 feet. All right, now if you're using a cell phone, you can type it in this way. Okay, you're still going to need a negative 16, but then the 1 squared, you're going to type it as times 1 times 1, because remember 1 squared means you're multiplying it twice. Okay, plus the 92 times 1 plus the 80, and you're going to get the same result. All right, let's do that with the second one. So in this one, we're going to plug in a 2. So we've got the negative 16 times 2 squared plus 92 times 2 plus 80. And we're going to find out what that equals. All right, so here we go. If you're using the graphing calculator, again, you're going to go negative 16 times 2 squared plus 92 times 2 plus 80. So it's now 200 feet off the ground. All right, now, again, if you don't have a graphing calculator, you can do it this way on your cell phone. You're going to type it in like this. Okay, there are 2 of them, so you're going to multiply 2 times 2 there. And we will end up with the same result, 200. All right, now I'm going to do these next 2 fairly quickly. So if you want to take time to type them in on the calculator after I write it out, go ahead and pause the video, okay, because I'm going to go right into the answer to save a little bit of time. Here we go. So we're going to take the 4 and we're going to plug it in. Okay, type that into your calculator if you want to. Now would be a good time to pause. And we would end up with 192 feet. All right, 6 seconds. Let's plug it in. Okay, this would be a good time to pause it if you want to type that in on the calculator on your own. And we end up with 56 feet. Oh, we notice it's getting closer to the ground, okay? Obviously, it's going up and then it's coming down. All right, let's look at the next one. What does the 80 represent in this equation? Well, remember, the person is standing on the top of a building and throwing the ball up into the air. So the 80, that constant 80, represents the height at which the ball was thrown. Okay, it's that release point. Okay, we did this problem earlier in the year in a different unit, so this should look pretty familiar. Okay, the next part, however, we're going to use what we learned earlier in the unit, the quadratic formula, all right, to find the time in seconds when the ball is at a given height. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that quadratic formula over here. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so the first one is, at what time is the ball 40 feet off the ground? Well, let's see. Excuse me. You're going to take that equation and you're going to set it equal to 40. Now, remember what we talked about in the last lesson. In order to use the quadratic formula, it must equal 0. So we're going to have to go ahead and subtract this 40 first. Okay, so now we have negative 16t squared plus 92t plus 40 equals 0. Now we can use the quadratic formula. All right, here we go. I'm going to plug in the numbers. Okay, let me switch colors here. Let's go with purple. All right, so negative b. So we're going to go negative 92, please use parentheses, plus or minus the square root of 92 squared minus 4 times, let's see, that would be negative 16. Okay, that's terrible. Let me back that up. Times c, which is 40, all over 2 times b, which is, 2 times a, which is negative 16. All right, let me double check. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, now remember, we're going to simplify the inside of the quadratic first. Okay, and the bottom is negative 32. All right, so when we type that into the calculator, all right, here we go. So again, I'm going to use our calculator. If you're using your cell phone, again, you're going to have to adjust a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and take the 92. We're going to square it. We're going to go minus the 4 times the negative 16. And then we're going to multiply that to the 40. And we're going to get a fairly large number here. Okay, 11,024. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take that and square root that number. Okay, just like in the last lesson, nothing different here. So we're going to go ahead and square root the 11,024. And we're going to get a decimal. Okay, but let's look. Right here, we've got 0.99. I'm going to round, so I'm going to round this to 105. So we're going to use 105. All right, now remember, there are 2 answers here, folks. All right, so I'm going to figure out the 2 answers. And then we need to think about which one will be our final answer, or will they both be our answer? Okay, remember, it only hits the ground once, and we're ending up with 2 answers here. All right, so I'm going to start with the negative 92 plus 105 and then divide it by negative 32. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take, let me clear this. I'm going to take the negative 92 plus the 105. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Okay, if you want to type it in all at once, make sure you use your parentheses, and then I'm going to divide that by the negative 32. And I end up with negative 0.40625. And that would be seconds. All right, we'll discuss that in a little bit. Let's do the other one, negative 92 minus the 105 divided by the negative 32. All right, so negative 92 minus the 105. Okay, hit enter or put parentheses around it, divided by negative 32. All right, 6.15625 seconds. 6.15625 seconds. All right, well, I'm done. So only one of them makes sense, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the ball hitting the ground and it's time. Okay, actually I should put T there. The time is those two numbers, but this one does not work because you can't have negative time. So the only one that works is that one. So the ball, okay, the ball is at 140 feet. Okay, at 40 feet, sorry. The ball is 40 feet off the ground at 6.125 seconds. Again, the ball is at 40 feet off the ground at 6.125 seconds. All right, we've got one more to do, and then that's it for the lesson. How long does it take the ball to hit the ground? Well, when it hits the ground, that means it's going to equal 0. So we're going to take the negative 16t plus the 90t squared plus 92t plus 80, and we're going to set it equal to 0. All right. Well, it's already set equal to 0, so let's plug it into the quadratic formula. So we got negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. All right. I'm not going to jump back and forth with the calculator. Okay, we just did one exactly like this. All right, we're going to do the inside of the square root first. When we do the inside of that square root, okay, if you need to, pause it and see if you can get this number. Here we go. It's 13,584. If you did not get that when you type the inside of the square root, pause it. We'll try it again until you get that number. All over negative 32. Okay, so we have negative 92 plus or minus. All right, and then the negative 32 on the bottom. Now, take the square root of 13,584. All right, and I'm going to round this. Okay, take your calculator and find it. You should get 116. I'm going to round it to 0.6. All right, so again, there's going to be 2 answers here. Okay, and this is the time. All right, so the first answer, again, you're going to take the negative, excuse me, you're going to take the negative 92 plus the 116.6 divided by negative 32. You're going to end up with negative 0.76825 seconds. Then you're going to do the negative 92 minus the 116.6 over negative 32, and you're going to get 6.51875 seconds. And again, only one of those makes sense, okay? And that would be the positive one. All right, that's it for the lesson. Review it if you need to. Pause it, practice it, take good notes on it, do the best you can. All right, I'll see you in class soon. Bye.